Listen, I know we're all skeptical now that Amazon has full creative control over James Bond, but they could win people back, okay? There's one obvious choice that you could make that could go ahead and reverse the course of a franchise that has been in limbo since 2006. I mean, you see the poster over my shoulder there. I like Skyfall, but still, it's definitely a big step down, and I would go ahead and I would give up Skyfall and everything from the Daniel Craig era to just get back to the coolness that we had with Pierce Brosnan. But if we go ahead and reverse course and start to really do something spectacular by casting somebody who actually wants to have the role of Bond, I'd go ahead and give all of that stuff up. And I know it's trite to say at this point, I really like Casino Royale. It's definitely top 5, but top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. I really do have to go through my favorite movies of all time and to really properly rank them. It might be something we do in the future. Who knows on that one? But even still, I'm probably a little bit more critical than some other people. I think that, it suffers from a problem that has definitely become rampant in recent years where, your film has a 2-second act, or I'm sorry, a second third act. I think Casino Royale definitely has one. And if you would have cut all of the stuff with Vesper Lind off of that one, put it onto the front of Quantum of Solace, you would have actually had somebody able to recall anything that happened during Quantum of Solace. But I digress. Casting Henry Cavill as the next James Bond is so damn obvious. You would think that not even Amazon could screw that up, and they already have a working relationship with the guy. Like the Warhammer stuff, the series has officially been greenlit. They're working on it. It's going to be coming out. Don't have a release date, don't have a release window or anything like that, but it's definitely coming. So yeah, he could definitely slot in. He could slide on over to something that would have a little bit more of a premier veneer, and then also if he does a good job on that one, it could end up shedding light onto the Warhammer project, and it could really be a win-win scenario. Then of course, I'm taking a look at this in a vacuum and not realizing that Amazon wants to just simply make James Bond into more content, and they want to have a Bond universe or a Bondiverse or just stop me and put a Walther PPK in my mouth to shut me up, drive an Aston Martin headlong into a wall. But bro, just everybody wants this, okay? The freaks that would protest a casting like this would never have watched a James Bond film in their life. So no, don't go with the discount version. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I hear decent things about him. Oh, he was good in Bullet Train, but still, it's like the David Cornsweet as Superman thing. He just looks like great value. Henry Cavill, a black Bond. I don't think they would be so bold. It's also like the Harry Potter stuff, the Harry Potter series over at Warner Brothers. For as much as they're getting shit for casting a black Snape, I don't think that they would be so stupid as to do anything radical in changing Harry Potter specifically. I would just also take a look at, who's eventually going to get cast as Hermione and Ron. Don't be surprised if you got an Indian and an African flanking the boy who lived. But I also think that James Bond is going to be a white guy. It's just all of his supporting characters and all of the additional series that are going to be spun off of a popular James Bond. Man, it sucks, man, because he's just, I know everybody said it before. I've said it before multiple times, but he's just so perfect for Hollywood. Okay, at a point in time where the movie star is practically dead, where nobody really puts butts in seats, Henry Cavill, he is just tailor-made for that role. He has tremendous screen presence. Like, I've seen his work as Superman, and he's damn good, even though he's given a script written in crayon for his performances. It's like when he's on screen, you notice, you take seriously his presence. He's just like, he's got that intangible factor that very few people have, especially in today's day and age. And so you cast him as James Bond and it prints money because, yeah, on top of his screen presence and his acting ability, he also has a good head on his shoulders, okay? Because he has also recently talked out about broader Hollywood context, and he has a good question, okay? And as somebody who, honestly, like, I don't know the proper way to categorize myself in this, and I don't really like to talk personally about things, mostly because I think, like, the news can kind of speak for itself, but I'm somewhat of a prude, really. Like, whenever it comes to certain vulgar material, like, I'm not somebody who's going to stray away from violence or for nudity or anything like that. It's just something that I don't really desire in my entertainment. I'm not somebody who's going to judge the quality of entertainment based on how much or how little clothing a protagonist wears. Okay, you hear me talk about gaming, and if you watch those videos, you know that I'm somebody who's not going to simp for a game just because they got a hot female protagonist. It's like, wasn't the problem with gaming not that long ago? It's like it's just an overabundance of female protagonists and unbelievable scenarios, but now you just want them there because they're hot and they in their pixelated form can go ahead and substitute for actual tangible gameplay. Please, for the love of God, tell me the amount of people that are looking forward to playing Stellar Blade on PC as opposed to the people that are just looking to ogle the mods on Stellar Blade on PC. I'll wait. What about all of those other fun games with all of that eye candy? How well is The Last Descendant performing? Yeah, exactly. Also, you know, this isn't like light switch thinking, okay? Don't be a light switch brain on this one. For as much as I don't really care about that whole gooning stuff at the same time, it's like I don't want ugly characters. I want idealized heroes of both the male and female variety. That's why I'm such a big fan of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I digress. Henry Cavill asking the question about the necessity of sex scenes in modern films. What is this doing for us? Which, yeah, it's something that I'm never looking for in a movie, and if it is there, it's kind of like everything else, okay? A good film is very deliberate with all of the choices that it makes. It doesn't just simply have a black guy there for the need of having a black guy. It doesn't just simply have a conversation. It doesn't have a dinner scene for the sake of having a dinner scene. Dialogue has intent. Character interactions have purpose. Same with fights. Same with fucking. It's all there for a reason, but if it's superfluous, if it's just simply there to check a box or to have some boxes, well, it sounds like checking. And from a certain point of view, you know, certain things are checked into it. It's just, yeah, what is this doing for us? Is it adding to the story or is it the story itself? Let's take a look at what he's discussing here, with a very serious look on his face. In the wake of Anora, yeah, a film that we talked about before, it's the Best Picture, which is, yeah, a film that has been described as, you know, something that you can check out on the hub, winning a Best Picture at the Oscar. Henry Cavill's comments regarding the necessity of sex scenes in the film has resurfaced in an interview alongside director Matthew Vaughn and Josh Horowitz. Okay, Vaughn brought up sex scenes, sharing that he does not understand them. And yeah, man, Matthew Vaughn, who's directed quite a few very good films. Some of them have Henry Cavill, and he also did Argylle, but we won't hold that specifically against him. He said, the thing I don't understand, and I've noticed I don't really direct them because I can't get my head around sex scenes. It's just something I don't understand. Yeah, because Matthew Vaughn's films, like, he does actually quite violent films, right? Oh, and is he going to be working on the Highlander reboot, which is something that we don't necessarily need, but it's got Henry Cavill. It could be good, and it's one of those films. It's kind of, if it's done right, it could be a very good reboot or a remake, and if it's done wrong, yeah, it's just going to end up detracting. Anyways, Horowitz then asked for Cavill to chime in, and after taking a deep breath, he said, I also don't understand them. Not a fan. I feel quite awkward about it. Cavill then questioned, you feel awkward? I'm sorry, Vaughn continued, I feel quite awkward about it. And then Cavill asked, yeah, you feel awkward? Vaughn then questioned whether or not having actors engage in those scenes is acting. Okay, guys, I need you two to get into bed, take your clothes off. Wow, this is really acting. I suppose it is, but it's bloody odd. Like, there can be narrative purpose to it. Okay, like, I can specifically think of Titanic, even though you don't see anything, like, really graphic about it. It definitely tells you about the escalation of that relationship. It does add complexity to the other relationship over the top of it, and oh my god, now I'm just thinking, and I'm also getting sad too, because James Cameron actually used to be able to make scripts, and now he just does Avatar. Anyways, speaking about things I don't understand and people don't understand, Cavill then shared, I think that there are circumstances where a scene actually is beneficial to the movie rather than just the audience. Thank you. Oh my god, this is just like when discussing whether or not a game is good or a show is good, whether or not it's faithful to the source material. It's like, yeah, but how is it as a show? What is it like as a scene? Just because you like the flashy lights and the big colors on the screen, is it a good scene? Is it a quality scene? Is it adding to the greater story? These are the important questions, and this is why I want to see Henry Cavill succeed, goddammit, because he's actually asking the right questions. However, He then added, I think sometimes they're overused these days, and when you have the sense of what's going on, is it really necessary? Or is it just people with less clothing on? And that's where you start to get uncomfortable, and you're thinking, there's not a performance here, it's just a piece which is going to carry through the rest of the movie and put a crescendo on it. Exactly, the same thing happens with just overly gratuitous and stupid action scenes. I guess a sex scene is kind of like an action scene, I guess, from a certain point of view. And it's funny, right? It's like how many people would fondly look back on Man of Steel, so that big bombastic action scene at the end that just continues to go on and on and on. But again, I won't hold that against Henry. He does a good job as, well, the character that he's playing, because I can't really say that that's Superman. That's more like Murder Man and a fake alien. Vaughn later added, I do find it weird. It's like if my daughter became an actress and then went to a drama school to learn, to do a scene, I'd be furious. W father. Cavill replied, again, I think a scene can be great in a movie. They can really help with the storytelling, but most of the time the human imagination is going to trump it. Exactly. And so I think it can be a little bit of a cop-out if a TV show or a movie is just filled with the sort of gyrating bodies, and you're going, okay, but I mean, what is this doing for us apart from the idea of like, ooh, naked person? Great. Vaughn then declared, anyway, I hate directing them. Cavill added, yeah, not a fan of doing them. It's funny, right? For like the 2 seconds he was in Argyle, he was opposite, what was it, Dua Lipa or something like that? Some intensely attractive woman. But here's the thing, that's also the only thing that anybody really remembers from Argyle, other than fat Bryce Dallas Howard and getting rug pulled by the premise of the film where, oh, cool, it's going to be a spy thriller with Henry Cavill squaring off against John Cena. Very strange. And so it's kind of funny, even on a meta sense here, okay, how this quote is being sensationalized as, oh, Henry Cavill's not exactly a big fan of sex scenes in movies, but it also speaks to a bigger problem of how there's just superfluous fluff in order to drive attention. Meanwhile, if you were making and telling compelling stories, you wouldn't need all of this pizzazz over the top of it. If you had some sizzle to your steak, that's one thing. But if it's just all sizzle and no steak, that's kind of what we've got in modern entertainment right now, and that's why we're at such a crossroads. So let guys like Henry Cavill who have a good grasp on this, let them run wild and free. Cast him as the next Bond. I hope that Warhammer series is good, but then again, I'm hoping against hope that Amazon actually has some common sense in their entertainment department. So with all of that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.